So good morning, everyone. I'm here from GE, and I'm also on the management team. Thank you, Phil. So I work at GE Design and Experience Studio in San Francisco. It's an internal design consultancy, also what everyone would call the client side. And that's where we really work with all the different businesses. So GE has about 300,000 people. What I'm here today to talk about, though, is companies, cultures, and children. So they all touch upon every one of us. Not all of us have children, but we've been children. So what I want to think about today and get you to think about is how do these children actually help us inspire corporate cultures? So what's interesting about children? They have curiosity, they have evaluation, and they have excitement. So what I think about when I think about these children is how can we use that? How can we let us inspire and let us use what we had as children? Because why do we lose this inspiration? Why can't we just be like this girl? Why can't we be all excited and all happy when we're at work and getting excited? We're designers, we're supposed to be inspired, and we're supposed to help inspire cultures. And that's really what I started thinking about. So I started looking into some more of the psychology behind this, and that's where this graph comes up. We as children have so much creativity, so much excitement, just moving up. But we're lucky if we as grown-ups keep moving up, if it doesn't just go down. So I wanted to think about how some of these children could inspire us and how some of those quotes could do it. One of the mottos from GE is imagination at work. I think it's really interesting because how are we actually using imagination in our work? And I'd love to talk with more of you about that because I think it's really important for our corporate cultures that we keep that imagination going. So I started thinking, what should we learn from these preschoolers? What do the preschoolers say? I don't have children, so I started looking into ways of finding out what their children actually think because it's hard to remember what you were actually quoting and saying when you were children. So I started looking into a book called Preschool Gems. Leslie McCollum is a preschool teacher, and she's been capturing some of these quotes from these brilliant minds because they've really been saying something really fascinating. So I've taken some of the quotes, and I want to talk them through with you today. And I want to give you an insight into what I think we could be doing for corporate cultures. So the first one here is, I have a superpower. It's called sharing. I talk about that as collaboration. Haven't you all been in a situation where someone has been sharing too much or sharing too little? So how can we find that right balance for this? How can we make sure that we're sharing in the right way? The next one is, it's out of space-time. So what is that really about? It's about making sure that there's room for thinking and working. We're all sitting in meetings all the time. And how do we make sure that there's room for just creative mindsets? It might be a workshop, but it might also just be silent time. Another one is, pretend I was nice and I made pretty things for you. So the thing about here is that we need to do prototyping. A lot of us are talking about it, but are we doing it? So we need to really have that making culture. At GE, it can be hard. There's, again, many meetings. So another way of thinking about that is, in our class, we're learning how to use poems and knives. I see that as, how can we be using storytelling and prototyping at the same time? If we're just doing storytelling, it might just be marketing and fluff. But if we're just doing prototyping and not actually giving the right stories, what is it all about? This one is really about the creative plateaus. How are we making sure that we are improving? How are we making sure that we are learning? This little guy here is going to grow up and be a man. So how can he make sure that his creative intuition and creative spirit grows? Another thing is, please do not disturb. We're the good polices. So what is really a good polices here? We need to really think about how we can make sure that we have good governance. Governance can be good in some ways. There's lots of it in corporations. But how can we make sure that we're actually using it in a good way? Another thing is, let's stay inspired. Before school, I always think I didn't like school. But then I remember I actually do. So it's really about how can we make sure that we are actually inspired to go to work. and be there and not just inspire the boring, but inspire the interesting. And another thing I like here is there's no Batmans at school. We as designers are not the heroes, and we shouldn't be the heroes. We're the partners. It's all about partnership here. It was said earlier in this conference, we're not the heroes, so make sure that we're not positioning designers as heroes. These are some of the acronyms and some of the ways to talk about corporate cultures: collaboration, management, process, internal brand, promotion, governance. These are some of the things I've actually been talking about today. So I have some different rules of thumb. There's a lot going to be on this slide right here. So share nice, protect thinking time, make imperfect but remake, and going on, grow creatively, protect from boring, and hire partners, not the rock stars, and make sure that we can be doing that together. It's really about how we inspire and use the cultures. So this last one is my heart is sending love to all of you. And let's keep that in mind. Let's keep smiling. Let's keep these corporate cultures inspired and not just sitting in meetings and not just moving along and making things work. We really have to find a better combination here. Thank you.